On this week's episode of Beyond the Stars, our star-studded creative director joins us to bring us a very special announcement that you listeners will be over the moon to hear. We speak with the experts on how the world of space dating has taken us to the stars, and our latest couple on our world-famous segment Cosmic Connections details how their magical trip in the skies nearly lost its gravitational pull because of an extraterrestrial threat. So, get spacesuited up and strap in because we are about to take off. This is Beyond the Stars. Well, hello everyone, and welcome back to the latest episode of our earth-shattering podcast, Beyond the Stars. Before we dive into the latest developments in space dating, I am your host Ali, the Professor of Love here at Cosmic Horizons. If you are a returning listener, welcome back. We're happy that you've returned to this intergalactic journey with us. If you're new to this podcast, welcome. This podcast aims to bring you closer to what lies beyond our Earth, where star-crossed lovers thrive and fantasies run beyond your wildest imaginations. First, let's head back down to Earth, hopefully without crashing in a freefall, as we start with our segment Cosmic Confidential. This is where you will get the latest up-to-date information about the new experiences and developments that we at Cosmic Horizons are making. Today, we'll speak to someone very special at Cosmic Horizons who has been the leading visionary in bringing our wild concepts to life. And now, she's back with a huge announcement that I know a lot of you have been asking for. It is our creative director, the one and only Lucy. How are you, Lucy?
All good, thank you. Thrilled to join you today and be back on the podcast once again.
So, Lucy, since we last spoke, you and the Cosmic Horizons team, you guys have been hard at work on refreshing and enhancing one of our key components in the integration between the consumer and the world of space dating. Obviously, the launch of the Cosmic Horizons website and the app have been a major success, and the ever-strong Instagram page. However, I've heard through the grapevine that something big is on the way.
You are indeed correct. I'm so excited to share to everyone that we will soon be launching our biggest update ever to our official Cosmic Horizons app. This has been a good few months in the making, and full credit goes to the men and women who have put in all their hard work to make this happen. As creative director of Cosmic Horizons, there has always been this ambition to encapsulate my vision of using the latest and greatest technologies to further fuel the possibilities that can happen for our passengers.
Now, this is all very exciting, and I think I'm just excited about it as you are and everyone else listening. What I'm wondering, though, is you mentioned how the new updates to the app provide further possibilities. So what are some of the things that this update will enable that was not really possible before, and things that you can't really do with social media or websites?
That is a good question. Obviously, the big difference is that the app will always be natively on your phone. It's not that you have to go out of your way to search for us on your Instagram or online. We're right here on your home screen 24/7.
So what do you feel the big benefit of this is, and how are you going to make the most of it?
That's obviously something we have had to consider quite heavily, but we've generated a few ideas. One of them is obviously the improvement on notifications on the app. This new update gives us the chance to streamline the process of matching updates to take up in space. Notifications give us the chance to help notify customers if they've had a similar match to someone who's on the platform and is nearby, a little bit like Tinder. But the focus is that the information can get directly delivered to you. The algorithm we have put in place makes it so that rather than needing to have our compatibility consultation in person, everything can now be done on our app. Obviously, some people will choose to have notifications off on their phone, and that's fine. What that means for us, though, is that we need to figure a workaround so that we're still able to help pair up people and get them to speak with each other before sending them up to space.
This all sounds so amazing to hear. I mean, as someone who's been running this podcast now for a while, to see your growth and to see what you guys have done, it's been exceptional.
Yeah, we're all really excited by it too.
Now, I have a fair few apps on my phone, including the Cosmic Horizons app, and the vast majority of them are free apps, but some of them have in-app purchases, some are paid apps, etc. What approaches are you thinking for the updated Cosmic Horizons app?
So there's a few angles we can tackle this from, but we think the best way to do it is to keep the base app free as it always has been and potentially offer optional in-app purchases in the future. By keeping the app free, this ensures that we are able to offer our service to as many people as possible, not just to people who can't afford to pay for apps, but also for people who just might not choose to pay for their apps. On the other end of the spectrum, there is a core target base that will pay for better services if offered. For this, we're looking at launching a monthly subscription service on the app. I can't confirm many details of it for now, but this will help give users the tools and capabilities to find the best success possible when in the skies. Most of all, this also provides us with a source of revenue that we can use to continue to offer the best experience possible that aligns with our vision of the future.
Now, hear me out. I think I've got a pretty good name for the service.
Okay, let's hear it.
Horizon Plus.
No disrespect, but I think we can come up with better.
Fair enough. At least I gave it a good shot. And yeah, it's good to leave the creative forces in charge of letting this come to life. So, before you go, can we get a time frame? How long do you think it will take before we get to see these updates out in the wild?
We're a good few months into working on this project now, and we're really making strong progress. We hope to invite some of our earlier adopters to test the new and improved app in the next 3 months before officially launching the update and our subscription service to the public. Hopefully at the end of the year we'll all be finished.
Great stuff, Lucy. I'm really looking forward to it. One last really cool thing that Lucy forgot to mention is that with the new update, Beyond the Stars will now be available to listen to directly from the app. Now, don't worry, this doesn't mean we're going onto there exclusively or we're locking ourselves behind a paywall. This simply helps bring us even closer to Cosmic Horizons and ensuring that I can deliver the best information and insight possible as your host.
It's always great being able to come on here anyways, and I'm sure it won't be too long until I'm back on sharing some more news about the updates.
Amazing. Thank you so much. Look forward to speaking to you soon.
You too, Ali.
Now here on Beyond the Stars, one thing that we do try our best to do is to offer a behind-the-scenes look as to how all of this is even possible. Now, while we try and make it look as seamless as we can, the amount of effort that happens to put together this ridiculous idea cannot be understated. And that is why we like to dedicate a segment of this podcast to focus on what you may not see. This is Behind the Love Star. Today, we get to look at how we have physically been able to bring our passengers up to the skies and experience the magic of the stratosphere. While as a company, we love to focus on all the lovey-dovey dating, it is essential to recognise that without the advancements of our engineering partners that they've made in spacecraft, we could not offer this high level of experience as we do now. We're joined by one of those engineers, Rohan, who's going to reflect on what strides have been made in the world of commercial space travel, simply thanks to our team. Hello there, Rohan.
Why, hello there, Ali. It's a privilege to be able to join this podcast for the first time and speak with the man behind it all.
Thanks again. Now, I obviously have no engineering background whatsoever, so all the expertise in this conversation is pretty much going to come from you. What I do have, though, are a few questions I want to ask about how you started and what kind of brought you here, as well as what you'd say your own vision of the future for this company and space travel is in general.
Well, I'll tell you that the journey really started from being immersed in space camp. I got the chance when I was younger to visit NASA HQ in Florida, and when you're there, you get to learn all the ins and outs as to how everything is possible. And naturally, I've always had a passion for physics and maths.
Complete opposite of me, honestly. I was always kind of the creative guy in school, and I think once I got to the point in my education where I'm like, I want to do anything with numbers, I just kind of veered away from as far away as possible.
Fair enough. I know a lot of people like that, to be fair. But I think for me, there was just something so satisfying about solving equations and finding solutions to the most difficult problems.
Amazing. Now, obviously, the commercialization of space travel is something that is kind of shot out of nowhere almost. So what do you think led you to become part of that side in it? Instead of focusing on other things with planets, like discovering other galaxies or other planets in general?
Yeah, that's a great question, in fact, and something I still give a lot of thought to even at this point in time. I think it came from when it came to the crossroads, seeing space travel opening up more and more for others, and feeling like I wanted to be part of something special. The thing I love most, though, is to give others the opportunity of a lifetime. I still remember after years of work behind the scenes, I finally got the chance to go up in space, even if it was for a short period of time, and it brought me almost to tears.
Yeah, that's something I resonate with a lot. I was lucky enough to go on the first ever Cosmic Horizons flight, and I got to do a podcast episode from up there a few months ago. And yeah, like you said, it's really hard to describe the feeling of being in space because all the pictures, everything you hear about it, it just doesn't do it justice, I'd think.
You know, I completely agree. I think the trip, or it was that trip, that has motivated me even further to provide more to the world of space travel and to allow for easier, cleaner and cheaper ways to make this possible.
Now, I just want to touch on what you just said there. You talk about easier, cheaper and cleaner. That's obviously one thing saying those words, but It's another thing altogether actually taking action and making these things happen. So what do you say some of the things are that you've had to work on and do?
So, one of the most recent projects I've undergone was allowing for the use of biofuels and sustainable fuels. A big problem about the commercialization of space travel, as incredible as it is for our world, is that there is a huge emission of greenhouse gas from amount of rocket fuel you burn. Just think about even a takeoff. You burn around 20,000 pounds of fuel every second, which I think is more than 2 million times the amount of fuel you burn from a family car. And I know you can't really make that comparison between a car and a rocket ship, but it just goes to show the environmental damage that space travel brings. Our job has been to find biofuels and rework our rocket boosters so they can still provide the necessary thrust needed for liftoff and travel while dealing significantly less harm on our Earth.
Yeah, that's amazing to hear. I mean, action that's actually being taken to improve the entire experience for everyone. Now, I also mentioned before about your vision of the future with how you want to kind of take this space travel even further. And we discussed a bit on the phone about how you always wanted to redesign the ship to provide more experiences for our customers. Now, it's maybe early days, but if you don't mind talking us a bit through that, I think we'd be interested to see how you want to take this further.
Of course, I'm already a big fan of how the ship is designed, but there's always various bits and pieces and stuff that you can improve and ways to make the service even better for our customers. Thankfully, we've been turning fantastic profits recently, and as a result, we can directly reinvest back into the business to help develop these projects. With my team, we've just finished drafting up a prototype of our newest Cosmic Horizon ship, everything from sketching it out to a physical 3D model and virtual snapshots of what it would look like inside. These are photos I'm hoping we'll be able to share at a later time, but what I will say for now is that we want to prolong the space travel experience so that it doesn't just last for a few hours, but instead last for a few days and maybe even a few weeks. We are still figuring out a few teething problems like managing gravity levels and having comfortable but friendly space-friendly clothing. But once we can put all of the different pieces together, we will be more than thrilled to share all of these photos and sketches with everyone.
Well, I'm so excited to see kind of what your team have developed. You've already done so much for our business, and I'm really excited because if it's anything like what I've already seen you do, and it will be out of this world. I mean, no pun intended, but thank you again for coming on.
Thank you very much for having me. Appreciate it.
Now is the segment of the podcast you have all been waiting for. Yes, that's right. We're touching base with our star-crossed lovers in the sky who have since entered Earth's atmosphere again, telling us about their unique experience with some funny stories along the way. This is Cosmic Connections. Joining us today were once two polar opposites. But when there is a lack of atmosphere in space, their gravitational pull brought them together and they have been unified in harmony ever since. Here to speak to us today is Gabriella and Josh.
Hi there.
Hey.
Now, you two had never met each other before your trip up to space, right?
Correct.
Well, all that happened was we got matched up to join each other for this journey, and something about us just clicked.
Alright, so picture this. You're back in the waiting room, waiting to board your ship to take you up into space for the first time. Talk me through that experience of you guys coming face to face with each other.
Well, it was all a bit exciting, but nervy as well. This was something I'd heard about through all of my friends, and I've been interested in doing it for a long time now. I was just waiting for when the opportunity felt right.
Yeah, I think we both lucked out with each other when we saw each other for the first time. There was this energy that was immediately palpable between us.
Now, what were each of your first impressions of each other? I'll start with you, Gabriella.
Well, the first thing that stood out to me was how happy Josh is all the time. Like, no matter what's going on, he'd do anything with a smile on his face. And yeah, it was so easy to start a conversation with him.
Yeah, and for me, I think with Gabriella, it was her personality. She always approached me as a kind and warm-hearted person. Someone that is easy to start a conversation with, and someone who is always really relatable. And I think she's quite funny.
Yeah, I think it's always really important with first impressions. Like, no matter how people say they may be unimportant, it will always shape a lot with your relationship.
Yeah, I mean, it's the first thing you think about when you see them. That's something that will always stick.
Now, the experience itself. People who have listened to us all the time, they've always heard all the previous couples describe their experience, and it's always different. Thankfully, it's usually very positive. So, if both of you had to describe your experience in one word, what would it be?
I think for me it would be eye-opening. It's one thing going up into space and seeing all the planets and stars from above, but it's another thing altogether when you think about the future of our society. In my lifetime, we've already seen huge growth in the commercialization of space travel, and I think we aren't too far away from actually living among the planets in the sky.
Yeah, I think Gabriella described it perfectly, but another word I would use would be inspiring. I've been a listener and a big fan of this podcast for a while, and that helped me become inspired to actually partake in this and to become a member of the Cosmic Horizons family. But when you're up here, not only with the person you've been matched with, but also with many other couples that are up there for the same reasons as you, it reminds you that love is everywhere. You may have to go searching far and wide for it. I mean, in mine and Gabriella's case, we had to go to space to find it. But the journey is ultimately part of the destination.
Well, that is so amazing to hear, and I think it's always great to not only hear positive reviews of Cosmic Horizons, but most of all, I really feel that they're rooted in both truth and honesty, that we've been able to deliver this experience that you have both really desired. Now, we talked about this a bit off camera earlier, but I think the listeners on the airways have to know about something that I thought was really interesting that almost derailed the entire experience. So, who wants to do the honours of talking about it?
I'll do it. So I woke up one morning, as usual, gazing out into the sky and witnessing the amazing view of outer space. When I went to the bathroom, I noticed there was something in the corner. It looked kind of like a maggot infestation, and now I've had my fair share of maggot experiences before, but this one was like anything else. Firstly, I had no idea how they were even surviving up in space with no atmosphere, and how they even got there in the first place. They looked a little odd, so it had me wondering if they were a special type of maggot or something different altogether. Thankfully, Josh let me know that these weren't actually a problem at all, and they were just little pets that live on the spaceship whose job is to clean the floor of any dirt or crumbs.
Wow, well that's something I never knew about, so yeah, maybe I have to go back up onto the ship again sometime in the future and kind of like see what they're all about.
Yeah, by the end of the trip, I was giving them names. I must have named 7 of them Bob at some point.
Well, I think Bob is a great pet name in my opinion. So, now that you guys are back on Earth, what are some of your plans that you guys have together?
Well, one thing we were looking at doing was going to a space museum so that we could find out even more about what lies beyond the skies and learn a bit more from our own experiences.
I've also really wanted to go to a planetarium nearby, but it's been quite hard to convince Josh to tag along.
Well, if you need someone to join you, I'd be more than happy.
That'd be great.
Well, I'll leave you two to get on with the rest of your day. Thank you once again for your valuable and amazing insight as to just how magical the experience with Cosmic Horizons really is, and I hope they've convinced some of you to give it a try yourselves.
Thank you.
Well, unfortunately, our magical time and space has come to an end for today, and we are beginning our descent back down to Earth. Tune in next week as we prep our afterburners and venture beyond the stars once again with more exciting developments, engaging conversations, and the life-changing experiences your couples have. If you would like to come onto this podcast or ask any questions about what we are doing here at Cosmic Horizons, please send an email to beyondthestars@cosmichorizons.com. We will be thrilled to hear your voices. Until next time, don't let gravity pull you away. Goodbye for now.